So of course we will create our test cases right under this file. So what we have to know is the sections in this test file. So we will have test cases section. Actually, when I start typing, I just see the auto completion option, right? So I can just select this. So this will be the section starting with this test cases placeholder. So under this section, I can create my test cases. For example, this is my test case number 1, let's say. This is already a test case I can run, but I can see that test cannot be empty. Of course, I need some test steps inside, right? So again, one more thing we have to know about robot framework is it is a test framework encouraging key-driven development or key-driven design. So which means we will make use of keywords. There are different types of keywords, we will see them, but most of the keywords are coming from built-in libraries. Like we can just call the keywords which are provided us over different libraries, or we can make custom keywords in which we can implement our test cases or different algorithms. So let me use a very basic one, which is just printing something to console, right? Log to console, this one. So indentation or the spacing is very important in this robot framework language, which is built on top of Python, because if only one space, then it means I'm continuing my keyword. But by using more than two spaces or just using a tab, then it means I'm skipping to the next parameter or the argument or whatever I'm implementing. So now I want to print something on console, like this is my log to print on console, right? Print on console. So as you see, whenever I'm using one space, I'm still continuing the first parameter. So this is my keyword and this is my argument after two spaces. But inside the argument, whenever I don't use more than two spaces, I'm still inside the same argument. So this is a argument with a string type, and I'm still continuing my first argument. Cool, I guess I'm ready. So the first thing we will do is run this test. So I can already see this icon here to run my test case. So let's try it out. Whenever I click, I can see the execution started. And what I see here on my terminal is I can see my project and which spec file started. And inside, I can see there's one test case, and this is already printing my message on the console. So this was the first successful execution that I can do in my robot framework. So of course there is no assertion, no verification, no validation, no API, no UI calls or steps, but just printing something on the console. But this was just to see how we can execute test cases. So this is the execution using the ID itself, but of course we can do the same by using command line interface, right? So what I have to do is just running a robot command by passing my spec file name, which is my test1.robot. Again, the same test executed, and I can see this was pass. So I can see already some report is generated. So let's open this. Whenever I click the generated report, I can see a very useful and convenient report in which I can see which test cases are there, and they are grouped under the suites or the tags, because we will see the tagging the test cases, but for now I don't have any tag associated with the test. But if I did, then I would see those different tags. And this is the overall status of the pass fail results of test cases. But if I want to see the detail logs, I can go here to see all the steps. Under the test, I have only one keyword, right, which was log to console. And we can see that that keyword is coming from the built-in library. I didn't have to import anything. I didn't have to do custom implementation. I just call this keyword. Cool. What else I can do? I executed the test cases by passing the test file name over command line, right? But what else I can do is I could use, by the way, I can see the results, the generated reports here in my project folder. And my test file is here, right? So let's create some folders here. For example, let's say this is my integration test. And let's create another one for the system tests. And let's say this was an integration test. So let's move it here. And let's add one more test here under the system tests. This is my system test. So here we can just copy this and paste here. This is my, let's say this is my second test case. So now, you know what I'm trying to do, right? In the first trial, I executed only one test, but now I will try to execute both tests. So I will try to execute the test under a folder. So if I execute again the robot command, but this time not the file name, but the folder name. So it will be, for example, system tests, right? Now, what I can see is this time, again, one test case executed, but this is my test case 2, not 1 anymore because I selected the folder. So far, we saw 3 types of executions. One over the IDE, second, running robot command by passing the file name, and the third one was, again, running the robot command by passing the folder name.